Welcome, everybody. This is the Just Keep Reaching show, where we are helping you fulfill your full potential in life and in business by sharing stories, tips, and experiences from those who just keep reaching. My name is Joe Rosner, and each week I will bring you incredible guests in order to show you that we all come from different places, but to fulfill our full potential, we must just keep reaching. Welcome back, everybody, to another great episode of the Just Keep Reaching show. My name is Joe Rosner, and I'm here with an incredible guest who's a PEScience athlete, a social media influencer, and man, she's going to talk about her tremendous weight loss journey, the struggles and the tools and tips she used that aligns with Just Keep Reaching so well. Jill, I'm excited to have you on the podcast today, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, Jill, let's start off with, I want to ask something. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Minnesota, a south suburb of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. In Minnesota, born and raised, and I'm still here. We just bought a house in the same city that I grew up and went to high school in.
That's so awesome. It's cold there?
Oh, yes. We call it Minnesota. It is the land of the cold air, but let me tell you, there's nothing more amazing than summertime in Minnesota, and having that winter really makes you appreciate that. So I could do without the snow, but I would definitely miss fall and spring and stuff if we didn't have the seasons. So
Absolutely. And you guys have lakes everywhere, which has got to be fun during the summertime. So,
oh yeah.
So why don't we get started and talk about, your fitness journey? I mean, you're a huge influencer on social media, like on your Instagram. I see all of the things that you're posting. You're in incredible shape. Was it always like that? Or did you start off, not really knowing where you wanted to go and kind of fell into it? Or did you make that your purpose and your passion?
Well, I absolutely did not grow up fit, or I actually struggled my whole childhood. I grew up overweight. I was always the friend. I never had many boyfriends because of that. And I struggled with body image. My parents were athletes and stuff. And so I don't ever blame, me being overweight or anything on them. But I mean, you go to school and you got the a la carte line. So I'm eating bagels and getting pretzels with cheese. They don't have control over that. So my parents were always active. And I was active growing up, but I just never learned proper diet. And I don't really feel that they teach you that either in school. So I was overweight growing up always. And right about high school, my senior year, I was dating someone who was quite a bit older. It was kind of, different. He was like 5 years older than me, and he was a pizza delivery guy. So we ate pizza a lot and ate out a lot. So my senior year of high school, I gained probably a little bit extra weight. And then my heaviest known weight was like right under 180, and I never was a scale person. I didn't weigh myself, but I went to the doctor's office probably 2 or 3 months before I started my journey. So that was what it was. And I honestly think I probably gained another 10 pounds after that before I started my journey. But basically, so that was 2007 is when I graduated high school. So that's pre-social media. That's pre-fitness industry is gaining popularity. It's way before any of that. So before going into my freshman year was during my freshman year of college, I just had a couple of things come up in my life that really made me realize how insecure and how awful I felt about the weight gain and just not having energy and stuff like that. And my dad had done a bodybuilding competition when I was way younger. So I was around the gym. I had already been exposed to that. So I knew that the only thing that I could do was to make a change. And there was something specific that happened. It was literally just a friend that I had a crush on growing up. And he said something really hurtful, and it just made me really realize how unhappy I was with myself, that not even what he said made me do it, but just it made me have a lot of realization as to all the insecurities that I've been holding inside, that I needed to do something. And so it was January of 2008, so the year after high school, I decided I had nothing to lose. I was in a comfortable relationship, so I didn't really feel like I'm missing out if I stuck to my plan and went to the gym and stuff like that. And I cut out drinking alcohol. I literally just switched eating from unhealthy to healthy. I knew nothing. I knew nothing. There was no talk of macros back then. But I simply made the switch from eating, McDonald's and Chinese food and whatever to just clean what I knew, which was, clean, healthy, lean meats, protein. I ate a lot of peanut butter, vegetables. I didn't track or anything because I didn't even know what that was. And then I just started exercising consistently. My parents were founders of Lifetime Fitness, so I had a free membership there. And at Lifetime, I was actually trying to think back a couple of days ago about what it was like when I first started, because it was 10 years ago. I was like, dang, what did I do? What did I even do for my routine? And at Lifetime, their machines are set out in rows and they're labeled like arms back. So all the machines are together. And when I started, I used to just go down that row and do every machine of that muscle group. And that's how I trained. And then I did cardio. And then I just kind of learned as I went. I think it was probably so January is when I made that commitment. And then I would say by May or June, I was probably down to the 130s. I had probably lost about 50-ish pounds or 40 to 50-ish pounds by that time. And so, and I was feeling amazing. I was 19 at the time. So I kind of felt like, oh, I want to start going out and doing 19-year-old stuff, college stuff. So, the one thing that people don't always tell you is when you start this journey, you have to make it a lifestyle. You can't just do it to lose the weight and then go back to your old habits. So I didn't necessarily fully go back to my old habits, but I went out and I drank and, ate that eating unhealthy comes with that and stuff. And so I gained about 10 to 15 pounds back, and I really quick, within a summer. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And I promised myself I would never let it happen again. So I worked really hard, and let me tell you, it takes way longer to get it off than it does to gain it. So I worked really hard and got back on track, and then re-lost it. And then for about probably 4 years, I pretty much maintained a fairly skinny physique. I had muscle, but I think it was more so exposed because I was very thin. And it almost kind of mentally made me obsessed with being thin. I was so scared all the time that I would gain weight back like I did that first time, that it turned into, I never had an eating disorder, but I would say I was obsessive with exercise for sure. I would probably over exercise even though I was eating a lot. And so that whole period of time just really was kind of a low period of time for me, because although I was, thin and stuff, I was constantly in my head thinking I'm overweight or just scared of gaining weight. So actually the biggest turning point in what made me shift my mindset on that, before I started really getting into building muscle and being more experienced with lifting, was I made a YouTube video. And this was before YouTube was big, way before YouTube was even a thing, but I just needed some place to put this video, right? So, and I wish I could find it so I could share this experience with people more, but it was, like I said, 2012 or something, right when YouTube started. So I don't even know the email account that it was with, but I sat down and I talked to the camera and said how I felt. And I showed my body and just talked about it. And so then I watched the video, and here I am looking so frail, talking about how I think I'm fat. And that was a big wake up call to me. That was a big realization as to wow, you need to make some mental shifts. So then from there on, that's when my self-love journey really began, because yes, I lost all this weight and it made me feel a lot better. But let's be honest, I didn't really look at what the true insecurity issues were and to healing that mentally. I was too young to even know about that. I mean, I was 19 when I went through that. You don't even have, I didn't have mentors or realization that like I needed to work on my mental self as well. So after that happened, that's when I really started doing both self-love and the physical part of it. And then there forward, I started my own clothing business in the fitness industry briefly for about 2 years. And that's when I got really involved with other people in the fitness industry and started to really be more experienced with lifting and gaining a lot of muscle. I did fall off my diet one more time pretty hard during when I had that business, because I went through a hard time with that. And I gained some weight back, but that's also when I put a lot of muscle on too, because I was eating in a caloric surplus, which I didn't ever really try to do before. And that is necessary to build a physique. So then after that period, I re-lost the weight again, or I did a cut again, and I had revealed that I had gained about 10 pounds of muscle during that time, that was about 2016. And so then from 2016, that's like when my social media started taking off. Then from there till now, I think a lot of people have just seen my journey progress since then, with just being a little bit more experienced with lifting and having more knowledge on nutrition and stuff like that. So it was a 50-pound difference from when I lost weight. And then the muscle building phase really started around 2015 to now is when I put a lot of my muscle on.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Talk about a journey and a half. Now,
and that's just the fitness part. Obviously, there was a lot of other stuff that happened throughout that journey to affect it as well.
absolutely. So you said, you started and you basically started doing what you knew, right? So when you say like diet and you kind of fell off your diet and stuff, and I know you said earlier that you just did what you knew. So when you say diet, do you just mean you just started eating, healthier options? You didn't really get crazy on like the super tracking, specific amounts of this, specific amounts of that?
I've never identified with a diet, because my approach to fitness is just a well-balanced, healthy approach. I don't think you need to do I think whatever diet is going to be sustainable for you long term is what you should do to lose the weight. So, there's a lot of trend diets like keto and stuff like that, which they can work. But if you're in a caloric deficit, you're going to lose weight no matter what approach you use. But are you going to do keto long term? Like, are you going to always have that is that going to be sustainable for you to live for life? Probably not. So for me, my approach is to find a sustainable way to approach it so that you can continue to turn it into your lifestyle. I don't identify with any certain diet at all. I just try to eat healthy and fuel my body with what makes it happy. Obviously, I think there's a lot of people don't pay attention to the fact that just because something is healthy does not mean it's healthy for you. Your digestive system is different than other people's. So some people are more sensitive to certain foods that may seem healthy, but you shouldn't be forcing yourself to eat that if it doesn't make you feel good. So that's why it's really like everyone wants that one size fits all answer. And I'll be honest, you're never going to get it, because everybody is different, and it's for each person, it's going to be different. And that is a huge part of the journey that I think a lot of people really, that's why they give up, is because they don't want to go through the trial and error to try to figure out what works best for them. But in reality, you need to learn your body. The best way for you to live this lifestyle and make it work and make it happy is to learn what is going to be best for your body, because everybody is so different.
And that's incredible because you said you need to stick with something that's going to be sustainable for you over a long period of time, AKA the rest of your life, right? Because our body is our vessel and we need to take care of it. But I think people can sometimes go into such strict routines, but then they give things, they claim things as good or bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
As good or bad, or too much of this or too little of this, when I don't think it needs to necessarily be that in their overall life. I think what you said was key because you also experienced that when you went, you were talking about college and you stopped kind of doing what got you to where you were, and then you fell off track a little bit, right?
Right.
So would you agree that when people are talking and they tried something and it didn't work, or it panned off, or maybe they stopped doing something and then they keep trying all of this stuff, and in their mind they're thinking to themselves, none of this stuff works. What would you say to that?
Well, every time I get a message asking me, I eat healthy, I'm doing everything, blah, blah, but I'm not seeing results, I ask them, so what's your diet like? And then they'll return with, well, I eat this, but then sometimes I have some wine on the weekend and then a cheat meal here. And so I think a lot of the time people aren't fully being 100% committed to what they think. So the more, I'm not saying you have to be strict and hate your life. I think I do a pretty good job of showing that eating healthy does not have to suck, and that you can definitely make your food enjoyable. But at the same time, the more consistent you are with it, the better your results are going to be and the faster. And what I run into a lot of the time is, special events, weddings, having to go out with friends for birthdays and stuff. That's fine if you want to do that. But if you have a specific goal, those events are always going to come up. So in my mind, either you figure out a way just to make it work for you until you hit that goal and then add in that balance again. Or if you want to enjoy yourself during those times all the time and never figure out something different to do during those times, then it's just going to take a little bit longer, and you have to be okay with that. And you can't complain that you're not hitting those goals on time because of that. And I think a lot of people don't also give things enough time. They expect that 2 weeks of clean eating, they're going to lose weight. In reality, I don't physically notice results until about week 4, maybe. And it's frustrating because 3 weeks of 100% consistency feels like a long time when you're doing it. But the key to that is to learn how to prepare your foods in ways that you enjoy it, because then you don't feel like you're in this prison to this diet, where it's not like a diet, it's a way of life and you're enjoying it. And so regardless if you're seeing results at week 3 or not, you are feeling your body to feel better, and to be healthier. And that's what it should be about. People don't give it long enough, I think. And they're too quick to try all these trendy things. If one thing doesn't work in 2 weeks, then they move on to the next. And that's not reality. Things take time, and you didn't gain 20 pounds in a week from eating pizza, so you're not going to lose 20 pounds in a week from eating lettuce.
I so agree with that 100%. Now, being consistent. Now, would you say that, even some of these people that maybe they're struggling, could it be maybe their environment too?
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Adding to maybe some stressors that are forcing them to do things maybe out of the norm?
I think 100%. I think something that isn't really talked about a lot, but is so important is all factors of your life. So stress can make it harder to lose weight. Not getting enough sleep, being in a negative environment is only going to put more stress on you. So if you're around people who are not supportive of you, that is going to be harder, because you're going to feel pressured to do things out of the norm. So all of my husband and I's friends, like original friends, majority of the people who are in our wedding and stuff, they do not live this lifestyle whatsoever. But they don't care if I bring my Tupperware to their house and eat, or if I have my burrito with me in my pocket and I eat. I totally did a new one the other day, so I'm doing a little mini cut right now, and I want to be consistent because I'm going to Vegas for the Olympia, and I just want to feel good. And my friends were doing Sunday Fun Day at the bar, and I'm not trying to drink or anything right now. I brought my little egg white burrito to the bar on Sunday Fun Day. And you know what? You do what you got to do. And my friends didn't care. They were supportive. People don't have to live the same lifestyle as you in order for you to be successful, but you need to surround yourself with people who are supportive of you. And I promise you that just by going about your lifestyle and your healthy decisions, you will actually inspire them to do the same. That's what's happened to me with my coworkers at work. I never want to force my lifestyle on someone else or inconvenience them for their life, like because I'm making different decisions. But a lot of them were really interested in what I was doing, and some of them have started to do it too. So there's so many different factors that play into that. And sometimes I think people just overthink things too. They see new research or not even research. They don't see research. They just see people telling them. It's important to do research too. They just see, these green teas that are supposed to make you lose weight. I am just going to put it out there that the only way that is going to be effective forever to lose weight is to change your diet habits, your exercise habits, and your mental habits, meaning your mindset. There are things that can help aid in the process, but they are not going to be long-term, and they're not going to really make a difference if you're not doing the rest. You need to start with those fundamentals in order to be able to set the foundation for life.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, you're extremely passionate about this, not only because you've had your own transformations, but being an influencer, on the social media sites, a lot of people look up to you. A lot of people follow your stuff. A lot of people engage with what you got going on. Why do you think that is?
I think it is because I'm real. I have never once pretended to be someone I'm not on social media. I don't care to. It is more work to be fake than it is to be real. And I actually, because I have been so real, I feel that all the people, anyone who follows me, who's there for me and they like that I'm real, that's the type of people I want around me. If you want me to be something I'm not, and you don't like what I am, that's fine. You don't have to. See ya, bye. I want positive people who accept me for who I am, because at the end of the day, I have a kind soul and I'm a good-hearted person with good values. So nothing else matters, to be honest. And I'm relatable. I mean, come on, I shop at Walmart. So does a lot of the rest of America, but people don't want to show that on social media. And I just don't understand why it matters, because you are not where you shop. You are not what you wear. You are not the music you listen to. You are what your soul gives to the world. And if you want to spend your life going against what your soul is, you're going to have a heck of a time finding true happiness. I can tell you that.
I love that so much. That's deep right there. And I think people need to understand. Yeah, you're right. Just because you shop at Walmart or what have you. I mean, I have triplets. So shopping at Walmart is probably one of the best things in the world, because they can go grab whatever they want and they're extremely happy picking tons of stuff off the shelves, right? Yeah. I don't think that makes who you are. I think you make who you are. And you're right.
Everyone relates, like I've showed my stretch marks. I show when I have food in my teeth, and I don't delete the video and re-record it, because I'm like, whatever, that's just me. I always have food in my teeth, whatever, like so many people are just like us, and it's such a small world that why hide that when I guarantee when I say one, I've never shared anything on my social media that I've not had at least a couple people be like, oh my gosh, I feel the same, or oh my gosh, that happens to me, or I totally relate, because it's a small world and there's so many people. We have so much more in common. And if we would just open up, I guess I also come from a background of I've gone through a lot of things and I've seen a lot of things. So it's very hard for me to judge people based upon that. For instance, I work in pharmacy. So I see medical conditions a lot and I never judge people for them because you never know what's going on. My husband's brother passed away when we were 21. That was a very difficult time. So to go through that, like, you just appreciate so much more that being fake or like putting out fake stuff, just it's so draining and it's not worth it. That's not what's important in life. I also grew up without social media. We did not have social media until I was, I don't know, I mean, out of high school for sure. We didn't have smartphone. I didn't have a cell phone till I could drive, and they sure as heck didn't have cameras. So, I'm actually very thankful I grew up that way, because I have the realization that whatever happens on the internet is not my life right now and does not affect what I'm doing on the daily in person. And the people surrounded by me in person, that's who, is going to be important, where, you want to make sure you're making them happy and you're surrounding positive vibes to everybody and stuff. But what some troll says on the internet, like, who cares? 99% of the time when people are negative on social media, it's because they themselves have something deep inside, insecurity, or feel negative inside, and they feel that they need to bring that negativity onto other people to bring them down, to bring them above. But in reality, that's never going to be the case, and you're never going to win that way. So by really finding your true values and your true core to who you are and staying true to that, that is going to be the key to living a long, happy life.
That's absolutely incredible. I can see why people follow you and why you have such an influence and an impact on people, because you're so authentically real, and I love it. So with that, with having an influence, did that just happen overnight? Like, I know you're a PEScience athlete. Did, all this stuff just come knocking on your doorstep, or, was that hard work? Was that consistent actions to get to that?
So it's funny because I'm just not your typical influencer. Like, I feel uncomfortable calling myself an influencer to begin with. But I only remember when I hit 10K, like transition from the 9,000 to where you get the K, because that's so cool when you get the K. No, I'm just kidding. But I only remember it because we were in California for my one of our best friends' pro bodybuilding debut, and that's when we were joking about it. And so that's when I transitioned over to the 10K. At first, I was just being consistent because, to be honest, I just really wanted to be sponsored by the supplement brand that I love, because I was broke. I'm like, really broke, and I wanted to be able to use the supplements that I enjoy without having to pay for them. But I also shared my journey as is. I never really tried to grow a following or anything. It was never my agenda at all. I just shared, I don't know, I felt like it was kind of like my blog. Like, it still is my blog. It was a place that I could post where I was feeling, or like how I was feeling and what I was going through with my journey. I didn't have a lot of followers the whole time, so I didn't really think that people cared. But then it just kind of picked up and like grew really fast. And the more people that I kept attracting, the more I wanted to share, because people were actually listening, and I wanted to go even more in depth of who I was. But for me, it just really wasn't like, I never made it my goal to grow my following ever. It just kind of happened. And fast forward, I'm so happy that it is, because I feel like I've developed so much relationships with people, even though we don't meet each other. It's just so amazing to connect with people who are going through the same things, or who can relate, or I am very much so a people person, and I thrive off of being around people and sharing conversation and connection with them. So even though I didn't try to grow my following, it's really amazing. Like, I wouldn't take it back. There's been so many times I get messages and I cry and I get emotional, and it just means so much to me. So I never really tried to grow a following or really made that my motive. It just kind of happened. It happened really fast too. Within a year, I went from 10K to 240K or something like that. And that, I think that was also before Instagram really started making the algorithm different, so that it's harder now to grow. They continually are making it harder because they want people to pay them. And I'm not willing to do that, because I'm a person, and if people want to follow me, they will. And if they want to find me, they will. I'm not going to pay for that. I think that's ridiculous. So, so I think now it would be harder for someone to grow at the rate that I did when I first blew up. But I mean, the biggest thing as to why I blew up is because I just really honestly shared my life the way it is, and I didn't do anything to fancy it up. And I shared experiences that I think a lot of people can relate to. And I think it also helps that I went through it. Like, I went through the physical transformation. I've gone through so much experience. I have so much life experience at the age of 29 that maybe a lot of 29-year-olds don't have yet, that I want to be able to share that to help people. Because if I had someone like a mentor or someone to really give me some background wisdom of these hard struggles when I was going through them, I feel like I could have gone through them a lot better. But so that's why I want to share and continue to keep sharing. And I try to keep it to not just fitness too, because life is about more than just fitness, and it's every aspect of your life that makes up the whole masterpiece. So it was definitely not a planned thing. But in hindsight, I'm very blessed and extremely happy to be able to have the opportunity to connect with so many people.
Absolutely. Now, wouldn't you maybe agree that, especially for a lot of like the online fitness coaches and just people online in general, like you always hear them, they're talking about likes, comments, following, right? Like, would you agree it was probably because you weren't focused on that and you were focused on serving and giving them
100%.
an experience?
I have never been like, it's a popularity contest to some people, but what does that do for your life and for your happiness? It does nothing. I've never been motivated by money. I don't care. I would rather do something that makes me happy and just be comfortable. And I have never ever once said, please go turn on my post notifications. I feel like that's so awkward. I am not an influencer. I'm not here to influence you to think the way I think. I'm here to help you by sharing my experience. It's just so tacky to me. I don't know. I'm not the typical influencer. Like I said, I don't do it for the likes, for the comments, I do it because I care about humans, and I want people to succeed, and I want people to be able to get through their struggles. That's the most inspiring and motivating thing to me. Not a picture of abs or a physique, but to someone who's going through a hard time and pushing through it and getting over it, no matter what their circumstances are. So I just have never cared about that. And that's why, they always say there's these tricks and stuff to get around the algorithm. I'm sorry, I'm not going to waste my time doing that, because you're here for me, and I have a good heart, and God will take the wheel and things will happen. And you don't need to overthink it. I think you need to be able to build a life off of Instagram as well. How can I share experiences and stuff if I'm not actually living them? If I'm only sitting on Instagram putting things that I think are going to get more likes or stuff, I really don't have any value to add, because I'm not actually living experiences to be able to share with people. And it's easy to get caught up in that. I get that, because there has been times where I'm like, oh, it seems like I didn't have any interaction on this post. I wonder, it makes you kind of second guess things, but then I always take a step back and I'm like, Jill, you are who you are. This is not about that, and it never has been. You always got to remember your why and keep it very close to you, because that's what's going to keep you serving for the better and for your true values, and not because you want likes. I don't know. It's just, what good does the likes do? So people heart your photo, but are you actually helping them? Are you actually giving value to their life? I can tell you that I don't care if I have a lot of likes or followers or whatever. I get messages from people that tell me that I have changed their relationship with food, that I have gotten them through struggles that are not even fitness related, that I have changed their life. That is so meaningful to me. That is so meaningful to me. That is no amount of likes, comments, followers could ever give me the joy that it does from being able to change lives. And that's what it's about.
That's absolutely incredible. Those messages, when you get them, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Wow, I can't believe that I am able to have this big of an impact. I've always known that that my biggest passion in life is to help people. And I think that once I started really going through a lot of struggles, really deep struggles in my life, and then getting through them, it just gave me so much hope that I wanted to share with others, that they too can get through it, and that life really is all about how you see it and what you make of it. And I get emotional. And here's another reason I can tell you that obviously the likes and stuff are not important to me. I rarely share those messages like on my story and stuff. I rarely, because you should be doing good because you want to do good and because it feels good. You should not be doing good for gratification from others. So like the pay it forward things and stuff, I think those are amazing. But guess what? You should really pay it forward without having to tell the world, because you want to pay it forward. And when you can truly connect with that inside, connect with the feeling of doing good and being able to help others without even sharing it with, like, telling people about it or having people know that you're doing it, that's when you've really connected with the true purpose of service, like you said earlier. And I think a lot, sometimes it's funny because I've always kept it real, on social media. And then now being real is kind of starting to be a trend. I feel like I've noticed that
it is actually. I feel like more and more people are doing that.
Sometimes I'm wondering, are you really being real, or are you being real because that's what's cool now? And so you just really got to tap into your inner self. And I promise that when you do the right things for yourself, like from your inner core, without having to let the world know that you're doing all this amazing stuff, it's so much, like, it just makes you feel so amazing inside that nothing else matters.
Absolutely. Now, even with all of these people that, they send you these messages, you've changed their life, like you've inspired them in some way, you've done something, deep with these people. What about when you feel like you want to quit? Have you ever felt like the whole weight of the world is on you and you just want to give up?
Oh, for sure. You definitely. So I'm first of all going to say that I'm extremely blessed that my husband is such an amazing supporter, and we have the same mindset, the same values. So anytime I start overthinking things, he's always right there in my corner to remind me of why I do what I do and what's gotten me to where I'm at now, just to remember all that stuff. So it's easy to put pressure on yourself. Sometimes I feel, sometimes you're just tired, or like you don't have an interesting day, so you don't really have anything to say or to share, but you feel pressure that you should, because you do every day. And that's where you just have to take a step back and remember you're a human being, and that you need to do your life. You need to do you first. You cannot bring happiness to the world if you are not bringing happiness to yourself. I just did a post about this recently, that it's actually not selfish to put yourself first. In a way, it's actually selfless, because you cannot give your best to others if you yourself are not taking care of yourself inside. So it starts with you. So as long as you're taking care of yourself inside, and sometimes we get clouded, we all do. Sometimes we get distracted, or we overthink things, and we put pressure on ourselves. But at the end of the day, that's stuff that we're doing to ourselves. So having self-awareness is one of the most important traits that you can learn, because when you can be self-aware that you're having these feelings, or that you're not being yourself, or that you're putting pressure on yourself, that's the first step to really pushing past it, to get through it, so that you can get over the struggle. But if you're not even aware that the struggle is happening, that you're going to just continue to sit inside and not be able to push forward. So of course, I definitely put pressure on myself sometimes. Who doesn't? We're all human. And usually when I really am going through a struggle, I go on Instagram and I preach about it, because I myself need to listen to myself. And that's what helps me get through it. I'm so thankful to have, the opportunity to be able to share my message with other people, because when I'm sharing it with other people, I myself need it as well. So the people who follow me do so much for me. They may think I do a lot for them, but they do so much for me as well, because if they weren't there, I wouldn't probably be able to hold myself accountable to be my true, authentic self and remember these things all the time. Of course, I have my husband to help me as well, but he is a firefighter, so he does work 24-hour shifts. So sometimes he's not there, and then I can go on and talk to other people and let them know, you just have to take a step back when things get too overwhelming to you, because sometimes you're just not seeing things clearly.
Absolutely. And I think that's what everybody has to understand, is there's no perfect. There's just progress in every area of your life, and every day is another day to try to make it a little better, because everything comes in incremental stages and never all at once. And that's why I say setting expectations for yourself is a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. Mm-hmm. If you set an expectation without willingness to let yourself be not perfect, now you're going to fall into the habits of thinking that you messed up, like you failed big time. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you set expectations knowing that life will throw you a curveball and be willing to improvise and adapt along the way, I feel like that's true happiness, because we all have things that pop up. We all have days where we're like, man, I don't really want to get up this early, but sometimes we don't, and sometimes we do, and that's life.
Mm-hmm. I always say that there are no failures, just lessons learned. And from anything that you go through in life, whether maybe you think you made a mistake or not, you can always learn something from that. And I am a big believer of everything happens for a reason. So whether it be negative or positive, it happened to teach you something, to make you grow, or to make you move forward. There's no, nothing ever is going to be perfect ever. I totally agree with you 100% when you say that, because you cannot have the expectations that everything is always going to go as planned. You need to be able to go with the flow, change the sails when the winds change as well, and just really take everything with a grain of salt. You can only do your best. That's all you can do. And give it your best. And if things don't go as planned, then you gave it your best. That's all that matters, honestly. I 100% agree with that so much, because you can't control life. The only thing you can control is how you react to it. So if you instead put your focus on putting your energy into, okay, so this happened, so now how can we move forward, instead of just dwelling on what happened. You can't control that. So what good is it to sit and focus on that when it's already happened, it's already done, or it is the way it is. So now let's move forward on to how we can make it better, or how we can move forward from the situation.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever had a moment where you did something, let's just say a social media moment, where you did something and you're like, oh man, I just posted that. I can't believe that just, like, I just did that and I didn't even realize that. And you thought to yourself that because you posted it or because you did this, that it was going to have this negative outcome, and then it ended up being something that was just really funny to everybody else, and it wasn't really that big of a deal?
I think I maybe used to, like in the beginning stages of when people started to really follow me because I wasn't used to it. But I'll be honest, no, I'm so confident in who I am and who I am as a person. Like I just am confident in my values and stuff that I make mistakes and it happens and I don't care. I actually think they're funny. Like, um, I don't know. I just really am what you see is what you get. And if you don't think it, like I've posted seriously so many like wacky things that most like, okay, this is going to sound really funny and maybe it's TMI for some people, but the other day on my story, I farted out loud in the gym and I was like really embarrassed and I went on my story and I said that. So, I mean, if I'm going on my story and saying that, I think it's going to be pretty hard for me to be embarrassed.
Yeah, no,
I think you
absolutely.
just, with time, you just really you have to really work on focusing on like loving you for who you are and just understanding that nobody's perfect. I think that's actually why on social media, I try not to like edit my photos that much and stuff because honestly, when people do that and only post perfect photos all the time or angles, like it makes me feel like I have to be that way. And I don't want to set that standard. I want to be able to just be who I am and not feel pressure to always look a certain way. So, like, even I do so many expos and stuff. Like, do you know how many people are taking photos I have no control over? And I just don't really care. I'd rather you see me for who I am and at my worst and love me for that than to always expect me to be this perfect thing because nobody in life is perfect. And I don't care what you see on social media, whether it seems like they're perfect or not, they themselves have struggles too. Everyone does because life just can't be perfect. That's not the way it works.
It's not just a highlight reel.
No.
Absolutely. So let's talk to the people looking to change their health right now. If they're looking to start, if they're looking to try, what's some encouragement you can give them today? What's something that they can do today that will move them forward?
The biggest thing is to start. I think people often overthink it. They are constantly like, well, I don't know where to start. Start with what you know. You know exercising is good for you. Whether you know how to do it or not, just do what you can. And, there's lots of information out there to learn. Eating healthy. McDonald's isn't good for you. Taco Bell's not good for you. Just learn like the basic facts, like nutrition facts, how to read nutrition labels. Whole foods are going to obviously always be better for you because there's not a lot of added junk in them and stuff. So just start with what you know. This is truly a learning process and people learn as they go. When they start, you don't need to know it all. I think people just over focus on like everything that they see online, like tracking macros. Before you even get into like tracking anything like that, just focus on making it a habit. Getting comfortable with eating healthy every day and not eating that cookie and pizza for lunch. Get comfortable with that. Get comfortable with going to the gym, making that a habit. And then as you continue to get more comfortable with it, you'll be able to continue to learn more. You always need to be open to learn too, because nobody has the answers all the time. You're going to have to continue to learn as you go. And the other biggest thing I would say is to be patient and consistent. Time plus consistency plus hard work equals results. So this is not going to be an overnight thing. And in fact, it should be for the long haul. So you have to go in it with a mindset that I'm doing this because I want to live a better life, a healthier life. So no matter how fast the results come, I'm going to do this so that I can live my best life. And if you can really focus on that being your why instead of I'm just doing this because I need to lose the weight, you're going to be more apt to actually making this a lifestyle and making it work for the long haul, because you can't just put in the effort for a little bit and then expect it to last forever. This life takes effort. You can't just expect everything to happen for you, whether it be in your job, in your fitness, in anything. You have to put effort into living your best life in order to achieve your best life. So definitely just get to it, get started. Don't overthink how to start. Just do with what you know. Just learn the basics of nutrition facts, how to do that, and be patient. Be consistent and be patient, because you are not going to see results in 1 week. It takes time. So don't give up. You can do it. I am not a superhero, and I've made a total body transformation. And because I've been consistent and stayed committed to that, I've made a total mind transformation as well. I think the mind transformation is 100% the most rewarding thing from the lifestyle change that isn't talked about often because you can't see it. But I promise that if you stay consistent and you work hard, you will find your way and you will make it work.
That's incredible. Now, would you say that it might even be better not to necessarily have an end goal to your fitness because it should be life lasting? But
Right.
if you do want to have targets, maybe set them in 90-day increments because it gives you some time to build up?
For sure. I see, the thing is, your goals are going to change over time too. For instance, when I first started my lifestyle, I didn't even muscles and stuff was not really I wasn't exposed to that as much. So I didn't even ever think oh my gosh, I want to build muscle. I just thought I want to lose fat. So your goals are constantly going to be changing. And if you try different styles of exercise too, that's going to change over time too, because sometimes you get bored of what you're doing and then you find something else and it's new. So I think it's good to always have goals because it does help you stay more consistent and work towards that. But you don't have to be obsessed with staying with that goal, and it's okay to evolve and have your goals change over time. So maybe you start out and you have this idea of this way that you want to look, but then throughout your journey you are really feeling strong and you actually want to transition from doing weight loss to doing a powerlifting meet or something. That's okay. You don't have to. I'm a big believer that you don't have to identify with any certain aspect of fitness. There's so many different aspects within fitness, and I think it's important to find what works best for you and what you like best. So I definitely think that it's good to have goals, but there's not as you grow, you are going to change, and what you want to do with your body and stuff is going to change. I definitely think it's good to always have the goal to stay consistent to it for your actual internal health, because I think a lot of people take that for granted, that they don't realize how much it does play, especially as you age. You really realize how important it is to take care of yourself. So I think it's good to have goals. Definitely 90 days is definitely a great realistic timeline, because if you're rushing things or putting too short of a timeline on it, it's not going to be sustainable, and it's not going to it'll be easier for you to rebound and not not bounce back the way you should once you hit that goal if you do it too drastic. So I think a 90-day period is definitely a decent amount of time to make for fat loss and stuff. When you go into muscle building, it's a little different. You need a little bit more time for that too. So it's good to have goals, but it's not like you said, we talked about earlier, where life happens and things happen. It's not if something happens during your goals, keep your goals close to you, but also don't hate on yourself if something happens, and just take accountability for it and then move forward. So it's good to have goals, but they're not they're not life or death.
Absolutely. And then for the entrepreneurs, all the fitness coaches, I feel like that's a big thing now, and it's growing drastically. How would you say they should start, especially online? How can they separate themselves from everybody else?
Being knowledgeable is going to be the number one thing. A lot of people, these days anyone can be a coach. They pretty much just are oh, well, I'm into fitness, so now I'm a coach. Well, you don't want to trust someone who doesn't have the knowledge behind it, you know? So the biggest thing is really take your time, do your research, learn things, experience things, um, and have credibility. Because if you're putting out stuff that is not credible or is not, like, for instance, even form, if your form is wrong but you're a coach, then you're compromising other people's health. So my main concern with them is, or with anyone who wants to be a coach, and myself as well included, is to actually take the time to learn and make sure you're having the proper information out there, because someone else trusting you with their health is a big deal. And as long as you stay true to yourself and don't go outside of your own values just because of what you think is trending, people are going to want to work with you because of who you are and the value that you bring. So that's what you have to remember at the end of the day.
That's amazing. Now, how can people become seen? Like your influence is incredible. Not even intentionally, just being raw. What are a couple pointers that you can get, give to some of these entrepreneurs that are online that might be able to get them moving in a direction to maybe having more impact and having more eyes on their things for the right reasons?
So, like I said earlier, I'm not the typical influencer, so I don't do a lot of things to try. But my biggest advice always, whenever anyone asks about their following, and this is probably the only advice that I can give, because like I said, I'm not one to really care to try these weird techniques to gain people, because I want the right people to be attracted to me, to be there as loyal till the end for who I am, is to just be yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to share. Make sure you're keeping things relevant, obviously, because if you're just all over the place, that's going to be hard for people to connect to you. But I feel like if you're really being true to your authentic self, you're not going to be all over the place, because you're going to be sharing what's relevant to you. So really, my biggest advice is just be true to yourself and stop paying attention to what other people are doing, because that's when you start posting out of your norm, or you start like thinking you need to do something different, is when you're paying too much attention to what other people are, who have bigger influences, are doing. And don't copy people. Don't, whatever they're doing, like, don't do the same thing, because that's not who you are. Just be true to who you are, and everything will happen as it's supposed to. That's what you have to trust. You can't rush things, especially these days with the algorithm and how social media is. It is harder to grow. So make sure that you have a life off of social media. You should not make your main focus in life to be a social media influencer. In my opinion, I just don't think that's not like, it's not something that you can rely on for life. So you need to have a life first and then share it on social media to give value through your experiences in your real life off of the internet. And always stay true to yourself.
I think that's amazing. And I think it's incredible because you mentioned a couple really key things that I think everybody kind of gets caught up in. Comparison's one of those. Everybody tries to compare to, the Joneses, right? The person next door. Oh, they did this, or wow, they did even in the fitness realm. Oh, well, they have, this result in this amount of time, or what have you. You're you, and it's going to be different every single time. You're not going to have the same results by doing the same things from that individual, because everybody reacts differently to their own. But also, you said one really, really crucial thing: have a life outside of social media and share it on social media. Because otherwise, what are you really sharing?
Yeah. See, well, and that's, I'm actually really glad that you put focus on that, because that is one of the reasons that I will never full on be a YouTuber or anything like that. Nothing against people who do that. It's just not for me, because I would feel that I am only putting content out that people are requesting and want to see. So I then would think that my job is, I wouldn't enjoy it anymore, because I'm literally just living my life based upon what other people want to see and what other people want me to do. I'm not actually doing what I want and then sharing it. So that's why I always keep my social media to a blog of my life. So I'm not going to go outside of what I do or whatever just because other people want me to. I'm going to make sure I'm living my life for me first and then sharing it to be able to help others. Where a lot of times it just gets to a point where it's like, are you even living life? Because you're almost just literally recording and it's like you're not even enjoying it anymore. And that's where you really lose your purpose, and that's where it starts to turn to more about money and likes and stuff like that, and I just can't relate to that. And I promise you that if you keep away from letting it get to that point, you will be 10 times more happier, because you'll be living your life for you and being able to share it and helping others at the same time.
I love that, because that reminds me of something I had a mentor way back when, and he said something to me that relates big time. He said, if you focus on doing what everybody else wants you to do, you're living their life, not yours. And at the same time, by doing that, you always have to go back to their hand for approval. Is that what you want to do for the rest of your life? Or do you want to make the decisions yourself and live it how you want to?
Exactly. I couldn't say it any better. Everyone wants to make a difference in this world, but in order to be able to make a difference in the world, you need to be able to be happy within your own self. You cannot spread happy, positive vibes to the world if you're not truly, truly feeling it. You really need to get in touch with yourself first. And that is so important. The mental part of it is just so much more important than even the physical, and that I can't stress enough how important it is to get your mind right before you do any of these, anything, whether it's you're sharing your stuff on Instagram or you're starting a fitness journey or whatever. If your mind is not there, it's going to be so hard for your body to follow and so hard for you to achieve happiness, because you're not even truly living life for yourself. You're just like a robot, like just going through the motions, and you're not actually enjoying it. And life, I cannot stress enough how much life can be too short to be anything but happy.
Absolutely. So would you say, even through all of the ups, the downs, would you say you just kept reaching no matter what every single day?
Oh, there's definitely days where you feel like you shut down, and I've definitely had some very low times where I wanted to give up, but I never fully gave up, because I'm here, right? I'm here. I always made it through. I've always made it through, but sometimes you have a couple of days where you like have a crappy mindset. And at the end of the day, you're gonna, as long as you can really train your mind to be able to get out of that, you will be able to. But sometimes you just need to let it out. Sometimes you need to vent. Sometimes you just need to let that emotion out. You cannot keep it held up. But coming back to earlier where I said being self-aware is so important, that's where that kicks in. So you feel your emotion out, maybe you've had a couple bad days, whatever, you let it out, you get it out of your system, and then you're aware, oh my gosh, like, wow, I've had such a negative mindset the last 2 days. I need to do something about it. And then you move forward. Nobody's perfect. You're not going to always be happy. Like, yes, I wake up sometimes and I will go on my story and I'll be like, wow, you guys, I woke up and I was a negative Nancy. It is time to turn that around. And then me just like saying that on my story actually instantly gets me in a better mood. So being able to talk about it, I've never been one to hold back on that. I've always been confident sharing when I have struggles. And I think that's because I've been exposed to so many struggles, whether it be my own or other people, that I see how normal it is for people to struggle. So when you can really like vocalize that, whether it be to yourself or to other people, that's when you start seeing that self-awareness, and that's when you can move forward. So I think it's completely normal to have a day or two where you just have a crappy attitude. Whatever, just let it out, get it out, but then be aware and move forward. That's what you need to do in order to be able to like fully move on. Otherwise, you're just going to be constantly living in that feeling if you never let it out.
I agree 100%. Now, it's crazy because I feel everybody's, always a student and always, learning every single day. And I think that you have given so much knowledge, so much information, so much great things for people to not only move forward in their fitness journey, but I think in life.
Oh,
You know what I mean? All of this stuff relates to life. And I know I appreciate it to the fullest. And I guarantee you, everybody that's going to listen to this, it's going to change the way they look at things. It's going to change. It's going to move them forward. They're going to keep moving in a direction of positivity and seeing results and not beating themselves up and thinking about life as not an expectation, but something we get to enjoy every day.
oh, exactly. And gratitude is the number one thing to keep you with that positive mindset. Things could always be worse. Some of the things that really help me in my life practice gratitude is, being in the healthcare industry, seeing some really, really difficult situations that people deal with. My coworker is my age. She's 29. She got diagnosed with MS this year. My best friend got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes this year, same age. Joe's brother passed away. We've military family, so we've done long distance. But you know what? I'm thankful because he didn't have to go overseas for a year. And you know what? I'm thankful because my friends are still here with me, even though they are not in 100% health. They are putting their their best foot forward and dealing with it and not letting it control their life. So there's always something positive to see in a negative situation. And really not letting your current situation be your final destination is so important, because you're always going to have those struggles, but making the most of it is what is going to keep you persevering towards the future. So practicing gratitude that's like whenever I'm feeling negative or feeling like poor me, I take a step back and be like, yo girl, you got it so good. You need to just chill out. Like, remember, like, oh, you feel fat today? Well, guess what? You're healthy enough that you can take your body to the gym, and you have the mindset where you can make a decision to eat healthy. That's something to be thankful for, because not everybody has that opportunity. And when you can really see especially my husband being a firefighter too, now I'm exposed to a lot he tells me stories that they come across, and it's like, dang, if you're healthy and happy, that in itself is something to be grateful for every day of your life, and to take advantage of it and make it the fullest.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this: I know we're running out of time, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I appreciate you coming on. Where can people find you to find this information to be a part of your life? Because I think everybody should at least go and check it out and see the information and get the value that you provide to them. Where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram. My username is Jill Christine Fit. I use Instagram stories a lot, so that is probably your best bet to really connect with me. I pretty much vlog my life every day. So, whether it be like the food I'm cooking up in my kitchen, life lessons that happen that day, funny times, workouts, whatever. And then I have lots of permanent posts that go over transformations, life struggles. I share much more than fitness, because fitness is my lifestyle, but it is not my whole life. It's a piece of the puzzle, and it's important to take care of all the pieces in order to have that masterpiece of a happy life. So that is where I'm at mostly right now, to be honest. That in itself consumes a lot of me, so I'm not on any other social media. It's just too much. I gotta live my life too, like we talked about, in order to share my experiences. So that's where I'm at right now for everyone.
That's so awesome. So if you aren't following, or if you haven't checked her out, go check her out on Instagram, and I will post these in the notes. So if you need to click on that, you can go there at the justkeepreachingshow.com and be able to find her information there as well, and check her out and give her some love on her posts. She's got the biggest heart and such a deep, powerful message, and such an inspiration to so many people. Jill, thank you so much for hopping on today. I am really glad we got to have a chance to talk and connect, and I know that this is going to change a whole bunch of people's lives.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm a chatty Cathy, so I loved being a part of it. Thank you again.